Welcome, everyone. Here we go. Technical issues seem to be sorted. And this is the Toplofty Lounge for a smooth show today. Oh yeah, in 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, baby. Yeah, here we go. In 11, 10, 9. Oh yeah, baby. Here we come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hello. Welcome.
Can anyone hear? Try talking again. Okay, I'm not hearing Snob right now, so I guess I'll just try to start the show. Welcome everyone to Top Lofty Lounge, episode 59. As sorry, I got a little bit feedback there. Anyway, we're going to be talking this evening. Oh. See, I think maybe our friend Snob has removed himself once again. So, yes, he's completely gone, and this is now my show. Unfortunately, I can't bring in our guest. I have no controls here, so I'll just keep rambling for a while. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Superman 2025 movie this evening. Um, and let's see, other housekeeping things while we're here. We've got looks like we've got a new subscriber up to 607. I should say Snob has a new subscriber. I'm in no way associated with this channel other than a guest who could be kicked off at any moment. Anyway,
All right, Cam. Did anybody get that? It kicked me out again.
Okay. We need a backup plan.
All right. Well, let's try again here. Let's.
Okay. Go ahead. Everybody forget what I said and pretend
like. What did Cam just say?
Nothing. Just pretend like you're starting the show again. Go ahead.
All right. Welcome everybody. We'll try again. I don't know what the heck is going on. Kicked me off twice already. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk about Superman, right?
I think that's, Superman. That's a great idea.
I said Cam. I said here's Cam. Introduced Cam, and I said if you missed that, he's the Lana Lane to my Lois Lane. If you missed that, but Cam said he loves me. We all know we don't have to embarrass him like that. Come on. All right. Welcome everybody in the chat. Did you welcome everybody, Cam?
Yeah. No, I didn't actually do that. I did note that there appears to be 607 subscribers.
Very good. Nice. Like, yeah, we go up a little bit after every show, which is nice. People seem to come in, watch a show, and go, "Hey, why not?" All right. So who's here? We got Outpost Nerd is here. Q2 Cast Madman. Who else is in the chat today? Weatherman, of course, our most loyal viewer. Always Weatherman. Good to see you, Weatherman. Yeah, and James is here. Of course, I'm just scrolling through. And anyone else? Oh, no, Dave's here too. Dave, good to see you. Dave says hello to Weatherman, of course. Yeah. All right. I think that's everybody. Did I miss anybody? I think that's it. Anyone else who's in is hiding. That's fine. That's good. All right. Cam, is there any? I have to ask. Did you do your assignment this week? Did you increase
Absolutely.
your Did you increase your sci-fi snobbery quotient?
Yep.
What did you do this week to increase it?
It's so important that I'm not allowed to talk about the details, but
Oh,
I guarantee that I did.
something.
Yep.
All right.
Very technical work and learning.
Ooh, that sounds very interesting. Oh, all
hmm
right.
hmm
Interesting. All right.
Trust me, bro.
Well, I saw, and if anybody's interested, you can go into the Discord. I started a new topical discussion called Sci-Fi Snobbery, and that's where you can put in, what you did during the week that to increase your sci-fi snobbery quotient, your snob quotient, and increased your knowledge of science fiction. So I saw Mickey 17. So I did a quick little review. The gist of it is, yeah, it's science fiction. There's not much different new about it. The acting is okay. See it for free, borrow it from your library, or wait for to go on cable or something like that. Don't pay money to see it. That's sort of my. Mark Ruffalo is in it, and he kind of plays a jerk character, but I kind of like that because I think he's a jerk anyway. So yeah, I was happy to see him acting like a jackass because I think he is one.
Yeah, the first thing I ever saw Mark Ruffalo in was a show called Due South, a show I greatly loved from the '90s, and he played a scumbag father who was trying to sell his baby. And it wasn't like sell him into slavery. It was sell him to a rich couple who wanted to adopt a kid, kind of thing. And so that's my view of him as a person, and that's probably, probably not accurate in terms of details, but maybe in terms of general attitude. Shots fired. Okay, well, I don't hear Snob again, so I have no idea what's going on. Jeez. Well, let me just look at the chat here while we're going. Outpost Nerd says Snobbery is I watch an anthology show called Amazing Stories. I enjoyed it. Sadly, only had 5 episodes. Okay, well, Superman to Sci-Fi. We actually had that discussion 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Where we were going over some of the different variations of Superman. Of course, we talked about it extensively last week. MS, welcome. Nice to see you. Okay, well, I was hoping that we would have our guest in here at this time. So in case Snob dropped out, which he will probably be doing throughout the show, so everyone can enjoy my awkward time filling. See how that goes. Let's see, what else were we started to talk about. He was talking about that show. I did some. I didn't have a lot of. We'll do an impromptu non-tool talk thing. I haven't had a lot of tool stuff. I've been watching some videos. There's a new socket set that's come out from Harbor Freight, their Icon line. They had a bit driver set that was very popular, super popular. It became almost a phenomenon. And so now they've got an expanded set. It has a lot of the same kind of driving things, but also has both metric and SAE quarter-inch sockets. There's a little bit of consternation about it because it uses the okay, Snob's coming back in, it looks like.
All right. I'm going to bring RTBS in right away. I don't know what's going on here. I'm getting disconnected all the time.
All right. While you're doing that, I'll finish up the tool thing right now.
Anyway. You guys, look, if I get dumped again, you guys just carry on with it.
Right. Anyway, so you might want to check that out if you're looking for a socket set, but it's quite pricey. So I don't think I'm going to be getting one, but we could probably show it next week or something, if you want to see a little more information, or you can just go find one of the many fine tool channels out there. Okay. Hey, welcome RTBS.
Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Snob. Sorry you guys are having technical difficulties today.
Yeah, my connection is just ending and starting and stopping. I think it's something on my end.
No, Snob. I know exactly what it is. You just blame this on the haters who are going after you. And then see that way you create this controversy, and then everyone will be like, "Oh, we got to support Snob," and start flooding money into you. And this is what YouTubers do. This is perfect.
It's the government. They're trying to get
Don't name them. Just it's the haters. It's anything that your audience wants them to be. You see, that's how you do it.
Oh, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Start a GoFundMe page.
Exactly.
GoFundMe.
All right. So
my back. All right.
Launch us here, Snob. Let's go. Get into the Superman.
Okay. Well, I wanted to. Okay. So just before. Just so everybody knows. What we'd like to do, provided we don't have any more technical difficulties or anything, Cam will just carry on without me, and I'll just keep jumping back in worst case. But at the end of near the end of the show, we'd like to bring on, we'll open the link up, bring on the viewers if you want to jump in for a few minutes. Tell us what you thought about the movie.
Lightning rounds. We're gonna have lightning rounds.
Lightning round, exactly. Yeah. But before we get into it, I want to ask a couple questions of our panel. First of all, I'm going to start at the back and work our way up because, and this is probably the least important thing to talk about, but now Supergirl at the end of the movie, there's a cameo and there's Supergirl just kind of acting.
I'm sorry, we're full spoilers here, right?
Yeah, full spoilers. Oh, by the way, warning, it says in the thing, spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers, close your ears. We're gonna talk about the movie, everything about it. So at the end of the movie, there's Supergirl comes in, and now rumors are that James Gunn. This is what I heard this week. I don't know how good the rumor is that his Gunn's next movie. He's kind of taken over the DC universe here, and his next movie is going to be Supergirl, which is why you saw that. And there was some talk about what's his name, Jason Momoa in as Lobo. I think he's been asking to be Lobo for a long time. So, what did you guys? I don't know if you guys heard anything about that.
Yes, as far as I've heard, it's going to be released next summer.
Really? Okay, so that's not just a. All right. So, what do you think of the portrayal of her? I mean, this is, I believe, RTBS. This is from, they're taking it from a certain comic book of Supergirl. It seems like that they're focusing on that. What was that?
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Woman of Tomorrow. That's the
written. Who's that written by? Who's that written by?
Tom King.
Oh, okay. Enough said. Done.
You're done.
Tom King.
Yeah, Tom King is a jackass. Okay. And anything he writes is sure to be pissing all over the character. Okay. And from what we've seen here, seems like right on track.
So
you're
out then.
We're going backwards, but what do you think? Well, Cam hates it, obviously. What do you guys think of the? What do you think about that situation?
Well,
kind of unusual.
Outpost Nerd just summed it up very succinctly that in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, you have the idea that, Kal-El was sent to Earth as a baby. Well, and I'm not going to get into the details, but, Kara was not a baby. She witnessed the destruction of Krypton and she and Crypto, well, obviously Crypto in this, escaped, but she deals with the trauma of losing her world by not making great choices, including going to planets that have red suns and getting hammered. So, and it's just all about her dealing with that grief and trauma. So,
is that the whole book?
Yeah, it was a 7 or 8 episode chapter story. Went through 2021, 2022. I mean, it won an Eisner. It was nominated for an Eisner Award, but I guess that
doesn't mean anything.
An Eisner Award. Oh yes, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, that doesn't mean nothing.
No, not anymore. Okay, so
in reality, it's Supergirl PTSD. That's kind of
Well, you have to keep in mind. You have to realize every story that Tom King writes is about his own personal issues, whatever they might be, and clearly he fits the role of a bitchy little girl pretty well. So
I gotta say that I got sucked into the Mr. Miracle thing, and I was enjoying it. And then halfway through, there's a whole a whole book about a baby. They're looking after like Mr. Miracle's getting up and looking after a baby and falling asleep and he's all tired and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Then I found out that Tom King, at the same time when he's writing this, that he had a new kid and this was what he was doing. I'm like, this is a fucking comic book. What the hell is going on?
Whoa, language alert here.
Sorry, excuse me.
Well, he also, it isn't going to just be based on his story. He's got a large role in putting together the screenplay. So
yeah, this is very bad news. It's I'm not. Well, look.
Was Tom King in the army? Did he serve in Iraq or something?
No. He was a CIA. He was a CIA agent of some sort. Is the story?
Oh, come on!
Meaning, no, I think he was a
sneaking around in
sort, but
he's sitting behind a computer tapping away at stuff.
Yeah, most likely, but they can't talk about it, I guess. So, but yes, that's his background.
Me neither.
Story.
I can't talk about my time in the CIA.
Right.
That's why no one can talk about it, so you can't challenge me and find out I wasn't really.
Convenient, isn't it? But for those who don't know, Tom King is allowed by the morons who run DC Comics, and I'll go ahead and drop some names: Dan Didio, not there any longer, and Jim Lee, great artist, absolute frigging disgrace, garbage tier as an editor or a storyteller, has allowed this moron, this broken, pathetic shell of a man, Tom King, to play out his therapy sessions, or maybe his self-therapy sessions, in comic books by trampling every character he touches. This guy shouldn't be allowed by law to deal with anyone else's IP ever. It's the biggest disgrace I've seen in comics, and that's a long list. So,
tell us what you really think, Cam.
I'm sorry.
Outpost Nerd. I hate monkeys too. Monkeys are creepy, man. They are evil.
Point is, Supergirl. This is pissing on Supergirl. Look, if they wanted to have a funny bit at the end with her, an end credit scene, I think that would have been okay. Her being a drunk wasn't necessary. It could just be, oh yeah, she's an irresponsible teenager
which is what she normally is. Right.
Well, not necessarily, but who has a bad dog. It explains the bad dog thing, right? And that would have been fine. Nope, they have to get into the whole thing. Oh yeah, she goes to Red Sun planets where she loses her powers so she can get drunk. Let's see about that. Kryptonian's kind of rare and, maybe a force for good generally, but this irresponsible idiot's going to go to a place where she could easily be killed by any number of enemies. Yeah, Superman's just like, oh, well, I'm kind of okay with that, I guess. I mean, he wasn't really okay with it, but it's happening. And my God, this is please, please, James Gunn, if you're out there, just let this stick as a stupid little thing and don't let this ever come to the screen. Please, you're gonna dump whatever goodwill you've gotten in the toilet immediately.
I do think there is a risk of that because, I don't think people are going to be familiar enough with Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow to understand, okay, at the end of the film, okay, it's funny. She went to Red Sun Planet, got drunk. She's got the dog. She called him bitch as she walks out. Haha, funny, nice little humorous way to wrap up the movie. But is this going to be able to carry a film that the average person is going to be able to relate to? I don't know.
Side note, if you, I've found that if you call someone a bitch, it really upsets them.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of seemed like Superman was kind of used to her behavior.
Oh yeah. Because Superman's not a fragile little girl who gets upset by that being.
It's just like kids. What do you do with them?
Yeah. I mean, a PTSD story can work, right? Like there's that American Sniper one, right? That's kind of a PTSD story. But come on,
right? And she's a teenage girl. Well, maybe she's older than a teenager now, but she was a teenage girl when that happened, and she's generally biologically younger than Superman in most comics, right? And kind of Ruffy, you could correct me. At most times, she is kind of portrayed as a late teen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 17.
Yes. She was, iterations vary, but she was sent ahead to, kind of be his guardian, Kal-El's guardian, and all this other stuff. But she got caught in a time warp, whatever you want to call
The
it,
whole
and
film.
Kal-El arrives first and ages up and passes her in biological age, and then she arrives. So she went first, but he got there. He got to Earth before her. Like I said, there's several different iterations, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have 2 hours to talk about that. But
Well,
yeah. And I know I just wanted to mention Supergirl at the beginning. I didn't want to.
well, but this is important because we're talking about Superman, but this is also the launch point for the new,
Yeah.
universe for them. But picture this. Everyone, we want to have whatever representation, girls, da da da. Okay, you want to have a movie that maybe appeals to young girls, and if you were a parent and you had a 15, 16-year-old girl, or maybe younger, probably younger, let's say
Because a
12.
younger, yeah, let's say
Eh,
12, because 12-year-olds are the ones who like to watch,
right?
shows about 17-year-old.
Is this what you want to show them if you're that kid's parent? I wouldn't. I mean, this is a stupid mistake. And MS was mentioning there, the whole theater gasped when she called Superman a B.
I was surprised. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
People
Again,
didn't gasp, but I mean, I was like, oh.
no, it's a bad choice, really bad choice. There's been plenty of versions of Supergirl, and he seemed to find the worst possible one.
So, Ken, we've talked about going and watching the DC animated universe, and there is a really great animated universe story. I forget which one what it's called, but it's about Supergirl. She comes down to Earth, crashes, and there's a lot of stuff going on with Batman and Wonder Woman. Superman's trying to help her, and she's like, he has to keep her he keeps her in the Fortress of Solitude because she hasn't understood her powers, but she's a teenage girl and she goes, I want to go leave and I can't just stick here. I've been here by myself and blah, blah, blah. She goes, Wonder Woman comes and basically kidnaps her in a sense and says, I'm going to bring her to Themyscira and she's going to hang out with the rest of us. She can't hurt,
Amazon.
my people as easily. We're going to teach her stuff, teach her to be a warrior and stuff. And Superman's like, no, she's my cousin and I miss her and I want her to be here. And Batman's like, no, she's got to go. She's dangerous and stuff. It's a great interaction between all of them. Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. I think that is correct, Madman. That's what it's called, Apocalypse, because there's a whole bunch with. It's all about. She ends up going to Apocalypse and stuff. Yeah, that's what it's called. Good, thanks for telling me. Great movie. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great storyline. You could have done something like that. That would have been, steal some of that stuff. That would have been good.
Yeah. Welcome, Death Angel Shadow. Yeah. Sorry, that was a lot of my distracting about the impending crap of Supergirl, but please.
I don't think it hurt the film itself that much. I mean, I can understand why hardcore purists are angry about it, but the 2 showings that I went to, people laughed.
Oh, did they? Oh.
So they did not.
I don't know that anyone laughed to mine. I can't remember, but I was a little taken aback. But I don't think it ruins the film. I mean, it's an after credit scene, so
it may ruin the rest of the DC universe launch that Gunn wants to do, as Cam mentioned. But that remains to be seen. That remains to be seen.
Okay, maybe it won't though, because clearly I'm not the audience that James Gunn is focusing on. It's a very different audience from me.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. He's really focusing more on the folks. As I was telling Cam before the show started, I ran into an old friend from high school. He was in the area, 1,000,000 to 1 shot that I would run into him, and we actually sat in the same row and right next to each other. And he is the guy that this movie was made for.
Oh.
Where he has just the general knowledge of who Superman is and the basic story, and he's seen the films and some of the TV shows. He absolutely loved it. And I said, well, what didn't you like about it? And he's like, well, there wasn't much I didn't like. I kind of, I give it 4 stars.
Well, that's a viable plan if you're going for a normie audience, right?
Yep. So you're saying it is a normie audience.
I think this is more for a normie audience than any other attempt at Superman.
Okay.
Outside of the Superman, Superman 1,
78.
Superman 1, Superman 2.
Yeah.
We won't talk about 3 and 4.
No. Okay, let me start out with a reference to last week's episode, where we talked about the differences between, Superman before, pre-crisis, post-crisis Superman. RTBS, what is this? Pre or post?
Oh God, I knew you were going to ask this. Okay, so
Awesome.
in my opinion, and from what
you.
I have also seen, as far as what Gunn has said, there were several stories that were kind of the foundation for this. Superman, Man of Steel, Superman for All Seasons, and All Star Superman. Coming out of this, I really felt like this was of those three. I really think that he based this more on All Star Superman. And I didn't have a problem with that because I really love All Star Superman. But All Star Superman is really more Silver Age Superman than, even though it came out after Crisis. But they're bringing a lot of and Cam's going to disagree with me, but they're bringing a lot of Silver Age elements back into the story. And I think that's where we get some of the Silver Age feel to this film, and I'm okay with it. I really enjoyed it. It plays more like a comic book. The stereotypical idea of a comic book than some of the post-crisis storylines right out of the gate.
Well,
like
let's just before you go, let's just summarize if anyone didn't hear last week's show, the quick difference, RTBS, between pre-crisis and post-crisis Superman and the focus on him.
Pre-crisis, Superman is the man, Clark Kent is the disguise. Post-crisis, Clark Kent, Kansas farm boy, raised by Ma and Pa Kent, human in every way except for the fact that he has these amazing superpowers, and Superman is the disguise post-crisis.
So this movie is which, human focused or
still human focused, I think, but just some of the feel, and I don't know how else to describe it. Some of the feel to it is Silver Age, but the portrayal of Clark is still mostly post-crisis. I mean, they really play up the idea that he is who he is because of how he was raised by the Kents. And he is, I mean, he even gives that impassioned speech at the end when he's talking with Luthor, where he says, "I'm just as human as anyone else."
Okay. Yeah. I first of all, I quickly with All Star Superman, I want to talk about that a little bit more. I read it back when it came out, and I reviewed it this week, but I didn't reread the whole thing. So I want to talk to you about that. But I've heard various people say this, and I'm wondering if you are now a plant who has been given a script to say this. No, I'm kidding. But
no, you aren't. But go ahead.
The silver. Well, if you're a plant, I'm the one that brought you on the show. But anyway, the Silver Age thing. Okay, can you give us a few examples of what you see as Silver Age elements? The kaiju. To me, that was a classic kind of a Silver Age thing. But other than that, what are you seeing in that?
So you've got the kaiju. Who just posted? I just saw somebody talk about the Silver Age cussing. Where you've got Superman saying "golly" and
No, I think MS was mocking that. If
I'm
not
love
mistaken.
All that Silver Age cussing. Okay, well, it may be mocking, but just some of Superman / Clark's, aw shucks attitude. I mean, it just, like you said, you've got the kaiju, you've got, you've got the monkeys banging, the robot monkeys banging on the keyboard. That felt very Silver Age to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I heard two things there. And I guess you're saying that the character, you think the general characterization of Superman is also Silver Age?
I don't, not 100%, but there's elements there that you know I don't know that I've ever heard Superman say golly or gosh or the Silver Age cussing.
Well, but
Um,
he would say "Great Scott" or whatever, right? I mean,
did he
or
post crisis?
"Wow."
Well,
I'm sure he has
yeah,
said "Great Scott."
yeah.
Row, I'm not sure.
But
Rao
you
isn't
know,
the god of Krypton or something, right?
and and you've got it's hard to describe, but it just felt like there was just a little wrapping of Silver Age sentiment
Okay,
in the film.
I can't completely dismiss that. I think there was a little bit of whimsical to it.
Hmm.
Like when they're fighting the what did they called it, an imp, right? The shining the
Yeah,
big bad. Okay,
outside the window while he and Lois are talking, she's like, "Are you gonna go help your friends?" Nah, they don't need me. It's just a 10th dimensional imp. They got this. The
yeah.
entire time they're having a conversation in the background, there's a superhero fight going on.
Yeah, I will agree that there are a few of those things, but to me, it felt like things that were kind of inserted rather than uh, that really carried through in a narrative way or a character development way. I didn't feel that it was particularly Silver Age or not, and I also didn't feel it was particularly post crisis either. I think that this is more of its own thing. But then this comes back to, and Snob, I'm sorry, I will let you talk as well.
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
this is where it comes back to the question of the All Star Superman thing, which you're probably going to have to describe to the audience a little bit because it's somewhat obscure. Snob, do you want to jump in and say anything before we go
No,
into that?
no, you guys are doing good. Keep it up.
Okay. So, Ruffy, if you would just briefly describe All Star Superman.
So All Star Superman, the base foundation of the story, and I reread it this week, is the final clash between Superman and Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor
Yeah,
traps
it's
Superman into exposing himself to so much solar radiation that his cells can no longer contain the power, and he is dying.
yeah, it's an
And there's
alternate universe story. It's a side story that is not in regular continuity.
correct, correct, but it's still quote post crisis,
Mhm.
and um, you've got Clark is a little more bumbling than he was post crisis.
Mhm.
You've got the big reveal. You've got Superman giving Lois a birthday present of 24 hours of superpowers, and they're meeting up with Atlas and Samson, and it's essentially the 12 labors of Superman before he dies.
Yeah,
and
it's
and does he truly die? We don't know. It's and Luther gets Luther gets brought to justice in the end, and I think, as there's a little bit of a reflection there with Luther that I think we see in this film. There are some uh, discussions, quotes just taken directly from All Star Superman. That whole conversation, well, not conversation, but that whole brains over brawn that was in this film. That is right out of All Star Superman.
yeah. So the way I would describe All Star Superman, written by Grant Morrison, uh, art by Frank Quitely. The art is really great in it, and I don't hate it, but I'm not a Grant Morrison fan. I would say that it's kind of, and he's a weirdo, right? I mean, he does a lot of weird stories, weird stuff. He's personally weird, in my opinion. But the way I would look at it is if you took Silver Age Superman and made it like tripled the quirkiness of it, and because like you said, there's it clearly has things that they draw from. So I'm talking about All Star Superman. Things that they drew from the Silver Age. Again, the very sci-fi things, and it's like, oh look, Lois gets well,
24
spoilers,
hours of power.
right?
Yeah.
It's like you get to be Superman for 24 hours, and that kind of stuff. That was the type of thing you would see a lot in there. But it's almost like a distilled version of it, and to me, I don't know. It didn't work particularly well for me, from my recollection. I haven't read it in
Okay.
some time, but again, I didn't hate it, and as a standalone, I don't mind it. I'm not sure that's the thing that you would want to use as the model for your headliner for your universe.
Well,
It is
and
way too it's way too niche. It's a story at the end of his life essentially. It's really specific. Um, but maybe your opinion is that they're just taking kind of the feel of it, not
yes,
obviously not the plot.
right. Because of the other one that he has mentioned, Superman for All Seasons. I
Well, that's
assume
way more
you have
grounded though,
read
right?
that. That is extremely grounded. That is very much a worthy successor to Burns' Man of Steel. It is very grounded. I mean,
Yeah,
there is no Silver Age to any of that. And actually, that was written by
written
Jeff
by Jeff
Loeb.
Loeb. Yeah,
That became kind of the foundation for the TV show Smallville, which
which Jeff Loeb
Jeff
wrote
got
on.
involved in. Yeah. So I just think in his attempt to be more appealing to the masses, um, it's not a direct take of the plot or anything like that. It's just that feel.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Because when not to cut you off, but when Gunn launched, hey, Gunn's going to do Guardians of the Galaxy, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is going to suck. I mean, it had mass normie appeal. I mean,
yeah.
people enjoyed going and seeing who didn't know a dang thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think that you
Well,
know,
yeah, no, nobody did. I mean, it was kind of a major hit in a small group back in the 90s, right?
sure,
And so nobody, your normies never heard of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
But yeah, I understand. He did make a big splash with it because his style worked for that movie pretty
yeah.
well.
It
Now,
was a much more jokey kind of movie, and
right.
I appreciated that. It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
But
I think this style is working with
well,
most of the general public.
you might be right about that.
I think
Um,
this style is working
okay.
for most of the general public. Like you said, this version of Superman isn't for you.
Yeah. Well,
It
it's not my
doesn't mean you
favorite
can't
Lincoln
enjoy
Tunnel.
it. It doesn't
Right.
mean
Right.
you can't enjoy it, but it is so vastly different from the very dark version
Oh
that we
yeah.
got with
And,
Snyder. And
and I
and I
think
want to be
that's
clear,
part of it.
I am not anti-Snyder, but I think there was a deliberate and if you want to go through examples, I think there was a deliberate choice by Gunn to make this so much polar opposite
Oh yeah.
to Snyder's Man of Steel
Yeah,
that
definitely.
that this was the only way that he could go.
Okay, but let me challenge you a little bit here because you've talked about Man of Steel, Superman for all seasons, and All Star Superman. Now, I think you can make a you could say Superman for all seasons is the inheritor of Burns Superman
Absolutely.
Man of Steel. I think that's fair. It was it wasn't exactly the same, but it's certainly in line with it thematically. I don't think All Star Superman is at all in line with that,
No.
and and so when someone says, "Hey, this movie is like these two completely different things," then I'm thinking, well, it's not really either of them. Then I mean, it could have elements from them, but my view on this is James Gunn's Superman. It's really not, an amalgam of a lot of different things beyond those three you named. Even it's pulling bits and pieces from a
Uh,
lot of stuff.
uh,
Go ahead.
agree, agree, absolutely agree. But I think at the end of the day, with all the things that he has talked about, and I wish I could explain it better, but this is just, it's hard to explain emotion. Um, of all the source material that he has referred to, um, I really felt like, this is more like Death Angel Shadow said. This is a kind of a Boy Scout Superman, and it gave me the the feel of All-Star Superman.
Okay,
I like that comic a lot more than you do, and I understand that's a quote unquote Elseworlds comic, but
yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
I
I
think
really enjoyed it.
I could enjoy it on its own. I don't think it's good for longevity at all. I think,
No,
well, I don't know. I mean, if that's good, well, again, we're I can't separate the plot when people start talking about that necessarily because it was just its own thing, So
yes, it was.
you see what I'm saying?
But you see
Anyway,
what I'm saying
yeah,
about the feel that he's going for, and I absolutely
yes,
agree with you. Can this Superman continue to carry the DC universe?
yeah.
I don't know.
Uh,
All I know is I enjoyed this film.
Sure. And okay, so but when you say I think you could just as easily, and you could describe it however you want though. But I don't think that anyone really has to have a grasp of All-Star Superman at all, because you could just as easily say, yeah, and it has some Silver Age elements, because All-Star Superman is, in my opinion, very rooted in Silver Age stuff,
Mhm.
distilled down to a, almost crazy level. So, and I don't think that this movie got to that crazy level in either plot or characterization. I guess the wormhole thing and all that is pretty wild, cosmic elements. I don't know. I guess when you say, I have a hard time separating out All Star Superman from Silver Age ish stuff. Okay, I guess so. No argument there. I guess it just I don't know. Uh, I
All right.
think this is different.
Sorry,
It just feels different to me.
Okay, I want to go back to the movie a little bit. What about best sort of aspects or scenes of the movie or whatever, like things that are positive about and then we'll do negatives after that. Artie Best, do you want to go first?
Cam, I'm going to let you lead because you and I are going to say the same scene, I think. But
Okay.
then I'm also going to say why I think there's an equally as cool scene and why it is not viewed as equally as cool. You go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I think the standout scene that was the most attention grabbing was the Mr. Terrific fight at the camp, on the beach. It was very much a Gunn style, James Gunn style montage,
with the music and everything.
Yeah, exactly. The music going and the, very dynamic shots and, all kinds of crazy action going on. I didn't expect that I wouldn't have gone in and said, oh, I can't wait to see the most James Gunn-ish scene possible, because I'm not a huge fan. But I got to say, I really enjoyed that scene. and I'm not a huge Mr. Terrific fan either. I have mixed feelings about him from the comics. But it was a great scene, and I liked Lois in it too, sure, because she was basically just reacting to what was going on around the whole thing. And it was a great, and that's mine. That's the standout scene of the movie.
And I agree that is a standout scene because you don't know, unless you're familiar with Mr. Terrific, you don't know what to expect. And you still, even if you're familiar with Mr. Terrific, don't know what to expect. It's like, okay, who is this guy who is, channeling, what was Lincoln Osiris from Tropic Thunder? Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
He was a little.
I kind of felt like he was going that route, but
good point.
You've got you've got Lois and her reaction is kind of the audience's reaction to everything that's going on around you, and it was a really cool scene because it was something that was unexpected. I mean, typical Gunn, but unexpected. But I the Superman fight with the Lex bots, the Legion, the Raptors, whatever they were calling themselves there at the end. I thought that was kind of cool too, but we've seen it before. Oh, he's using his heat vision. Oh, he's twirling around and starting to twirl. So it wasn't fresh, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think if it was done a little more sparingly, because again, okay, so in the Silver Age, Lex by the end, he was basically like a power armored villain, right?
Yeah.
That was his thing. And then they kind of did bring those elements in after post crisis and everything. And one of the things Lex did very early on, you see this, this kind of this famous Lex Luthor suit in Burns' thing. And, Superman's like holding it up like from behind. And then it's revealed that it's just some lackey that, Lex has in his powered suit that he's sending against Superman. And of course, none of it traceable back to Lex. Right. And so they kind of brought that in. In this one, they had like this whole army of them, and they had the whole thing with the Department of Defense, and while they were going with that, I didn't love it. I thought it was a little weird, because Superman's drop. He's blasting them with heat vision, and they're falling out of the sky. It's like these guys are gonna die. That's what I was thinking. It's like, is he killing these guys? I know they didn't intend to do that, and they kind of showed them,
still moving.
Yeah, moving when they hit the ground. But it was like, yeah, that's a little over the top, maybe.
But we're in agreement, which is odd that we both like the Mr. Terrific scene. Some other things that I thought were pros were I really like the portrayal of Lois Lane. I think this is the best Lois Lane we've gotten since the Donner cut Lois Lane, and that's how I contributed to sci-fi snobbery this week as I rewatched that. Vast difference between.
Okay, maybe we should talk about that scene then, if we can, Snob, if that's okay with you.
Just first of all, no, nobody likes monkeys. Monkeys are evil. We don't like monkeys.
Monkeys are the greatest evil, though. They're perfect.
They are the greatest evil. They're evil. Okay, so let me give my 2 cents in. I liked. I kind of agree with you guys. I enjoyed Mr. Terrific throughout the movie. I'm not a big fan of him. I do know of him. I've seen him in some of the animated things, but I thought he was well done. I liked the character. Okay, that's my 2 cents. Good.
Okay, so you were talking about Lois's portrayal. So the biggest scene where we got her, was her and Clark, doing the interview, right? Which was very, very close to the beginning of the movie. That
was well done. Yeah, well done.
No, I thought it was a horribly ineffective scene that made me hate Clark. I thought, but to RTBS's point, I thought it actually portrayed Lois pretty well.
Yes,
but the scene was a
great scene of Lois. That's what I was going to say.
Okay, I thought the scene,
her portrayal.
I thought it undercut things though, because they had, and again, it's not that it's unrealistic, but when they were talking over each other constantly and bickering and everything, it's not that wouldn't happen, but it doesn't mean it makes for an effective scene. Half the time I couldn't even tell what they were saying because they were talking over each other so much. And so I think they could have done that scene better. And like I said, I didn't like Clark. I did like Lois in that. RTBS, what do you think?
Okay, having been a journalism major, I completely understand where she was coming from with all of that, and I was totally and completely on her side. But I disagree in that I don't think it undercut Clark at all. I think it showed us who he was in a very effective manner, in the sense of, okay, he's just trying to do what he thinks is right, and he isn't, simple farm boy from Kansas.
No,
who's just trying to do the right thing, and he can't understand why Lois doesn't see that. He can't understand why the government doesn't see that. People were going to die if he didn't get involved, and that was his bottom line. And he doesn't care about. He isn't thinking about these other things. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? It's who he is. He's human. He is human. They are making him relatable in that scene, in my opinion.
Okay, to clarify, what I'm saying is I think the presentation of the way they were talking over each other undercut the meaning of it. And then the second issue I have is while I understand Clark's general position on it, and I don't disagree with his desire to do good or anything like that, I don't think it was particularly well presented. I don't like Clark being as petulant as he was in that. It's not his position that like I said, it's not what he was saying, it's how he was saying it. I didn't like that. I certainly didn't like him swearing in that. And it would have been funnier if he self-censored himself. self-bleeping yourself is almost always funnier than swearing, even though it was, a relatively minor swear. I didn't like that. That should be just a hard rule. Superman doesn't swear.
Fair
That's just my
point,
personal opinion.
especially since we talked about the Silver Age cussing previously. So fair
Right.
point. Fair point.
So again, you were making the point that his general position was, you thought, as I understand it, very, very in line with Clark's goodness and desire to do good and everything. I don't disagree with that. But again, his argumentativeness there, again, that's not the,
Okay, but consider it from this point of view, in that he has shared his greatest secret with someone that he clearly has feelings for, and now he's kind of feeling attacked by this person.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but Clark is
so
also a journalist. Am I to expect that he wouldn't? Again, it's like, you don't know who Lois is at all at this point. This is exactly what you should expect from her. So
Yeah,
I didn't like that
my
at all.
point as well. Like, he should have known that she was going to grill him. I mean, how long has
well,
he known her?
but he should have known, but he didn't.
Okay.
It's like okay,
She won't grill me. We're in love.
Let's just do it right now.
I think that showed immaturity on his part.
Absolutely agree.
Okay, but I don't see Superman as being an immature. That's not the portrayal of Superman that I want.
Okay, well, but
I don't want a petulant teenage.
I didn't feel like he was being petulant. I felt like he was being human in that moment. And I do feel there were times where James Gunn went a little too far in trying to humanize Clark, but I think that is a direct result of trying to get away from the godlike, Christ-like, whatever you want to call it, portrayal of Superman in the Snyderverse.
You will get no argument from me about the contrast there. I'll take this one any day. Superman never should have been put in the hands of Snyder. And I'm not a Snyder hater either, but Superman and him are not a good match.
I was going to put my 2 cents in, but you guys basically covered it all. I kind of agree with both of you. That scene was a good scene. There was, good and bad about it, but I think you guys pretty much pulled everything out of it that I was thinking the same.
To recap, I think it could have been a much better scene. I think it was a bit of a wasted opportunity, is the way it came across to me.
I would like to have seen, not necessarily that particular type of back and forth between them, but I would like to have seen more scenes between Lois and Clark.
Just one last bit. I did kind of like the bit where they kept on turning it off, and it's like, when they're like, going between their personality, at least Clark is going between Superman and Clark a little bit there. That was I got some enjoyment out of that.
Well, and again, just to reiterate, I liked what they did with Lois in this. She wasn't the damsel in distress. She wasn't, she was competent. She was
right, and she wasn't girl boss.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right. Any other positives, and then we go negatives.
I enjoyed the tone. I enjoyed other characters that were in the film, though there are some negative things with other characters in the film. It just, I really felt just overall that this is the most relatable Superman has been since, as far as movies, Superman has been since Christopher Reeve.
Okay, I think we should acknowledge there, though, that this is a very low bar to pass. The Snyder Superman is a disaster. He's not the Dark Knight. He's not emo. He's none of those things. And it was a completely opposite portrayal of what it should be. So anything that wasn't that clearly would look better. And I'm not saying, and this sucks. I'm just saying that the contrast is so clear.
They didn't succeed with Superman Returns either, and that was no fault of Brandon Routh. I mean, it was just the script.
True, yeah. But he wasn't like a dark. I mean, it had some weird stuff. I'd agree with that.
That movie wasn't.
That movie wasn't. relatable, is what he said.
Relatable. Yeah, that was weird. It was just.
It was weird. It was a weird
just,
concept to start with.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go. You want to read Astra's comment there?
Yeah, we want me to read it. My problem with the interview scene is that Lois is in character, but Clark comes off as a big baby. It's polar opposite from the cemetery scene in Man of Steel, where she's lured him out, but Clark is unfazed. I mean, he is kind of going back and forth in that interview scene in the movie. That a bit of a baby, sort of like, how come you don't agree with me? And
he should have known better. And Green Girl said that up above is why wouldn't he understand that from Lois? I mean, it's like, oh, you're my girlfriend now, so I guess you're just going to agree with me. It's like, no,
okay,
that's not
but when you feel like the whole world is against you to some degree, and you feel like you're doing good, and you can't understand where all these haters are coming from, you'd like to feel like your friends and family are going to support you, and you sit down and you're having a discussion, and they essentially tell you that you were wrong. I was like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be on my side. I think that's a natural human reaction. And again, I'm going back to the idea that this is a very human portrayal, and rightly so, of Superman / Clark Kent.
The other part of that is he asked her as Lois the reporter, right? Like he said, "Oh, you want to interview me? Sure, go ahead." Like that's how he didn't ask her as Lois the girlfriend. He asked her as Lois the reporter. So she's going to put the gears to him. Like, I'm not
if you want to have a discussion about that off the record, then meaning not off the record, with your girlfriend, that's a different thing. He knew what he was getting into, and then he
should have known.
He should have known. He should have known. Love blinds you, man. Love blinds you.
I mean, I guess
even when you have X-ray vision.
If you're looking at it that way, I mean, it's kind of humanizing him even more, right?
That's my opinion.
Okay, what kind of human? Yes, it's a natural human reaction, and I said that from the beginning that it's probably a realistic argument, right? If you have two people arguing, that wasn't the problem. I just don't think it was particularly good for a movie. But is that Superman though? What do you want your Superman to be? And I don't want him to be just another human. I want him to be Superman still. Clark, Superman is super intelligent. He's got all these attributes that are very high. And again, his moral thing is part of it. And I understand that this was from a point of, I'm trying to save lives. Right. But it seemed a little immature. It was, and I don't think Superman should be immature, even if he is, oh shucks, and I'm a Boy Scout. That doesn't mean immature. And I thought he came across as immature.
Naive versus immature is different. I would agree with that. RTBS, did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
He was roboting. He was trying to say something. He roboted a little bit. So I was wondering.
Oh, this is my nefarious plan to silence him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully he'll be back.
If
there was a question about crypto in the chat.
RTBS, just try, if you can hear, try jumping out and jumping back in if that's a problem. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Cam.
Well, maybe we might want to talk a little bit more about crypto. Gajiro was asking, said haven't seen, but my biggest fears were Gunn at the helm and crypto being a spaz terrier. So how was crypto? A spaz terrier. Very much so. I when I saw the previews, I was like, oh, crypto. I liked seeing crypto and being, this eager dog. It was pretty, they were pushing the limits of likability with crypto, in my opinion. I did like crypto. He had some good moments, but I can't say I loved it. I like him being overexcited in the fact that he's a super dog and everything, because it's, again, a throwback, but he was a little too much of a bad dog, to the point where it's like, this is a danger. He's very dangerous.
Yeah, that's what I feel too.
And we saw that.
Let him out the Fortress of Solitude, right? Because he would tear the place up.
Right. Okay, let's see. You want to Supergirl?
I'm kind of agree with Death Angel Shadow. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think he was a little bit overdone. Just going over a couple of things. Naivety is not that different from immaturity. I don't know. I think I think Superman can, naivety means, you can be, you know, I kind of see Superman as, he's naive in that he thinks everybody can eventually be good. Maybe they can all come back. He might, even Lex can
Mm.
be, redeemed perhaps, but that might be naivety. But he's not immature in that, he still understands that he might do something bad. And he's not going to get, necessarily surprised by it. But anyway,
All right, I have some potentially bad news here that RTBS has said that his internet has crashed. Got a message from him here, so I don't know if he's going to be able to come back in or not. Hopefully, he will.
yeah.
So hopefully, he can come back in. But
Yeah, if he comes back in, I'll throw him. I'm watching.
I feel bad now because I was
I'll come right
yelling
back
at
in.
I was yelling at him, and then he got kicked off, so he can't defend himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, what about let's talk about things you didn't like about the movie.
No, well, can I say one more thing I did?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I thought. Yeah, finish.
I thought Metamorpho was done very well in this. He kind of had a key role. Metamorpho is kind of a third tier character, but and it's an odd choice to bring into a movie. Again because it's not.
Yeah.
But I thought they used him very well. And I actually did like the. Again, we're all in spoiler territory here. The baby. I really like that scene. A person, why did he call him the Element Man? I think Metamorpho the Element Man is his title, or is his full title, or something very similar to that. He looked good, Metamorpho looked good, and he was used well in the movie, I think.
So. I figured they needed him. They needed him for the plot, right? So bring him in.
Yeah.
I think, right. And just Gojira, I think like you're giving it, you have a very negative view of the movie with the stuff about crypto. I didn't feel that. I mean, I agree with Cam. I thought it was overdone. I don't think it ruined the movie. I wish he had toned it down a little bit, but I don't think it ruined the movie. And I wouldn't say, don't go see it because of that. I don't know, Cam, I don't know if you'd agree or disagree, but
yeah, no, it doesn't ruin the movie. It's, but I think they went past the point where he stopped being endearing and became annoying, and I don't know that that's a good choice.
Okay. Is that it for positive?
There might be some other positive things.
We can go back to them. If we want.
Okay.
So what about the movie you didn't like? What?
Okay. Broad strokes. I think I mentioned this on Jason's show when we were talking about it last week. Is I thought Lex was uneven. I thought the portrayal was pretty good in general, and at the beginning, I liked him because he was much.
He's back.
Okay.
All right.
God must be a Snyder fan.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
tonight.
I was ridiculing your opinion, and when you got kicked off, so please feel free to.
Yeah, we don't
need to beat dead horses.
Yeah, we just want to jump into things you didn't like about the movie, but if you want to finish off anything likes that you want to do before we move on.
I mentioned about Metamorpho. I said I liked him. So what did you think about him?
I thought he was well done. And now the baby, not so much. But
I like the baby.
I thought the baby was kind of ugly and weird looking, but
well, yeah.
But no, I liked Metamorpho, and just his characterization was well done. But then you get into I liked all the background characters, but the problem is that you get into
not all.
You get into not having a whole lot of backstory. So if you're not familiar with the characters, it's like, well, who's this person? So I don't think.
I think you missed most of the crypto discussion too. What do you think about his overall portrayal?
You mean Baby Yoda? Somebody just posted a comment where they felt like he relied on crypto too much. I would agree with that, but I still thought, again, you're looking for that mass appeal. You're looking for that Baby Yoda character. I think that that Crypto was well done for the most part.
Yeah, I had said that I thought that he crossed the line into being annoying. I like Crypto and him, and I thought he could have been portrayed still as a kind of a wild, crazy dog without going over the top. And I think they went over the top.
Well, going over the top would have been including some of the deleted scenes where, as he's dragging Superman back to the Fortress of Solitude, they pass the many carcasses of abominable snowmen, and Superman tells him that he's got to quit killing abominable snowmen. So that would have been over the top.
Oh, that's pretty dark.
Yeah. So, because there's actually a toy out there that has the abominable snowmen, and someone was asking, well, what's the connection here? And one of the folks involved with the film was like, oh yeah, that ended up being cut.
Well, a lot of it seemed to serve the garbage Supergirl stuff at the end. It's like, oh, that's why Crypto's a bad dog, because Supergirl's a bad dog owner.
Yeah.
It's like,
but
that was way too much for
boy at times.
Yeah, I think they need a little bit more of a good boy moment, though.
Well,
I agree.
As who just posted, as a dog owner, yes, Death Angel Shadow, any dog owner could relate. Have you ever owned a dog, Cam?
No.
Well, then it's probably a little harder to relate to Crypto. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly why. I mean, some of the same things that Soups was dealing with Crypto, I deal with my dog every day. So,
well, I thought it was nice when Clark was recovering at the farm and Crypto was with him there. That was probably the highlight for him, I'd say.
Beautiful scene. So, we ready to get into the stuff we didn't like? And
well,
I want to reiterate, I liked the film, but it wasn't perfect. I still like the film.
There's probably an area. Just
real quick.
Probably a mixed area, right?
Yeah. Okay. Madman, I don't know if is this true? Crypto's getting some short films. I don't know.
I did hear that they real short things, meaning like internet shorts.
Yeah, I think that's an actual probably a good idea, good way to you can bring Crypto in, you can get a little for your movie. It's really a bad idea.
Green Girl says the scene where he said Lois about having to find him. It's like, yeah, they really did play that part up. It's like, he was clearly worried about him. It's like, which is a little strange because it isn't his dog. Yeah,
we don't know
but that goes back to the whole, where he saves the squirrel. I mean, Superman cares about everybody and everything.
Yeah,
and again, I think making a pointed departure from, I'm not saying Snyder's Superman didn't care about everyone and everything, but it just wasn't, portrayed that way.
Come on, it didn't. I mean,
it's like let's kill millions of people. Well, I thought, we didn't evacuate.
Millions of people. There's, come on, the place looks like a nuclear bomb went off, and I was saying,
I absolutely agree with Green Girl. Where he's talking about, well, he's not even, he's not my dog, and he's not a particularly good dog, but he's out there all alone, and he's probably scared. Yeah. And you still have that idea that he is part of his Kryptonian heritage. That's probably still important to him to some degree. So,
well, he's a dog. Yeah, I mean, man's best friend. All right, negatives. Things you didn't like.
Cam, you want to go first?
I've got a big one for me, and that is the whole rift, from the pocket universe or whatever. I thought that was okay. So they have it, and they kind of have like, oh, it's a timer, and it's racing across, and tearing into the city, and and then it just stops for a half hour when we go and do a bunch of other things, and it's like, oh, and then it's here again. Because I'm like, did this stop? Did they do something? Did I miss something here where they stopped it? And no, it didn't. It was still going, and so I don't understand that at all.
It did not appear to have consistent movement. We'll just put it that way.
Yes, it stayed still for a long time. And in relation to that, I think it was also it it tearing the city up so badly, I think wasn't necessary. I think it would have been better as a device. It's like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming to increase the pressure. And maybe it does get into the city, but I didn't need the wanton destruction as bad as it was. And then especially the fact that they then stopped it,
Yeah.
inexplicably.
I mean, Metropolis is what, like 8 to 10 million people that we're supposed to believe that they evacuate a
Evacuated that
large
many
portion
people
of it,
that quick.
just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah, that was,
everybody leave. Like, come on, it would be chaos. People would be
yeah, there would
killed
be a million people dead.
just from the stampede. Unless, of course, you assume that Metropolis gets evacuated regularly, like once a week, because there's always a kaiju or a
You could make that argument.
I
interdimensional.
hadn't thought about that. That's a great
Okay,
point.
That's the only thing. Like, I saw it with my buddy, and I said, I was mentioning that, and we talked about it. He said, well, maybe Metropolis gets, maybe they all live underground. They know that they're every week something happens.
They did actually put some credibility to that, because there were various times when there's this crazy stuff going on, and people are just kind of like looking out the window, like, yeah, this happens all the time here. And then the same thing with the imp. It's like people aren't freaking out about things that should freak them out.
They're standing there taking pictures with their phones.
Yeah, so it's not explicit, but I can buy that. This is a world where people are used to insane stuff happening.
But still, I mean,
yeah, it doesn't mean
that rift in the universe,
and that gets to that gets to another point that I definitely wanted to make. With the difference between Snyder's version and Gunn's version is, in Snyder's version, everyone worships Superman to a certain degree and treat him like a god, and there's pro and con Superman, but everyone is just in awe of him, and in this, like you said, well, people are just oh, he's been around 3 years, we're filming him on, kids are coming up to him and high-fiving him after the defeat of the kaiju, and he's picking kids up and hugging them and everything. I mean, just that was another thing that I liked, was just that idea that he's not being worshipped as a god or anything like that.
Okay, this ties right into the whole thing about
you didn't like.
Well, the whole I like that whole thing about showing him in a positive light, where everybody's like, yeah, Superman, awesome. That is how Superman should be. But then, of course, they have the maybe the controversial part of the movie, where they have everyone turn on him suddenly, right? And while I'm of two minds about this, it's like, yeah, public opinion does flip very quickly these days because of the internet and everything. I don't know. I think you got to do a little more work than that to make that credible.
That was a negative for me. And in fact, they turn on him on a dime after he's been saving him for 3 years, because Lex Luthor tells him, puts a video out there which could easily be faked. We talked about this. We don't know if it's faked or not.
But they're very clear that it's not faked, and I'm okay with the idea that it's not the first time it's come up that maybe Superman's parents weren't that altruistic in sending him to Earth, but they even talk about that in the Man of Steel. But still, like you said, that's a script problem. That is one of the. It was not a tight script. The story jumped around a lot,
and they flip back, and then you notice that then Lex Luthor gets exposed, and then everybody flips immediately against Lex.
Yeah, this is a little bit of this. This is the James Gunn self-insert story, right? And you can understand. Again, I think the guy's kind of a weirdo in some ways, and his being canceled, while maybe over the top, wasn't without some reasoning behind it. But I think he was probably traumatized by that, as anyone would be, and that slipped in there a little bit. Not to the benefit,
the robot monkeys,
not to the benefit of the movie. I don't think that really helped.
So that was, I found that a little bit unbelievable. Everybody flipping back and forth just like that. I mean,
well, a little nerd stuff here. So, Ruffy, how did that remind you of another Man of Steel era book, Legends? If you read it.
I don't recall the
Okay.
plot of that. I didn't get that one out to go back
All right.
through that one.
Briefly, it's basically that. It's this is again, it was the first crossover miniseries after Crisis, and I'll make this fast. And it was basically reintroducing a lot of characters, including Superman, and the first chronological appearance of Wonder Woman post Crisis. And it was basically Darkseid manipulating public opinion against superheroes in an effort to destroy them. And it was that kind of thing. But it had a slower build, and actually went to the trouble of telling the story of how they would do that. And again, this was that was 1986, so almost 40 years ago. So not too different from
Yeah,
today, I suppose.
but in defense of Gunn, you have to look at, okay, they want a 2-hour movie. How long can you develop the idea? We've got to have, for the sake of the story, we got to have public opinion turn against him, and how long can you draw that out?
Did they? Because I mean, they could have. They already had that. They didn't need to do that because they already had the whole story about. Well, people were kind of side eyeing Superman because of the war thing and his intervention in international affairs. They didn't need the internet side story to for the plot to go forward. It was an aside. It was an aside that I think detracted from it. Putting in stuff you don't need in a movie doesn't make the movie better. It makes it worse. My opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
I don't disagree with the point. As much as I love the Justice Gang, I wish there would have been a little more development. And I know it's too much to ask, but is this iteration of Hawkgirl, is she also an alien? Is she Thanagarian, or is this the iteration where she's possessed by the spirit of Shira Hall? We got a little background with Green Lantern. Where'd Metamorpho come from? I mean, as cool as he was, I know who he is, but other people.
I think they tried to do excuse me, a lot of work with the opening crawl or text where they basically said, "Oh yeah, metahumans been around."
Yeah.
Like, oh okay. I agree. It could have had more, but on the other hand, they're not main characters. They were kind of side things. So I didn't feel bad about that, and I'm sick of origin stories. But I will say that I think it was uneven. I like Metamorpho. I thought Terrific was surprisingly good from my standpoint because I'm not a huge fan. And I think Guy Gardner was okay, and I thought Hawkgirl sucked.
Yeah, I kind of agree with. I pretty much agree with Cam's assessment. I thought Hawkgirl was just horrible. They should have picked an actress that was more, sort of the classic. I think the ones from the animated
instead of Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, the actress wasn't the problem for me. The actress wasn't the problem. It was I just don't think the portrayal was good.
Oh, really? I would have liked to see the classic, more warrior type, taller, skinny, much more hard. I mean, she was a bit hardcore, but more hardcore, right? Like you see, in some of the animated movies, you see Hawkgirl is basically a warrior. She's like, let's kill him. She's kind of a Wonder Woman-esque that way, but maybe even more so. She's a warrior and stuff.
Well, that's fine. I'm saying I don't think the actress did a bad job. I think she was given a bad part.
Yeah.
It just wasn't flushed, and again, if we're talking about things that we didn't like, I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but would like to have seen, like you said, there was uneven character development.
Yeah. So the whole Justice Gang thing, to me, I'm kind of on the fence about it because I do like the fact they're not doing an origin story where they have to focus only on Superman, and I like that there's a little bit of world building element to it. That there's other stuff that's going on, and they helped that. But on the other hand, just kind of dropping a random selection of characters in didn't feel like the best choice to me either. But maybe it is because it's like, oh, it's Superman, and then you have these third stringers, and okay, yeah, they're there.
Others who are of the cloth. I'm sorry, I did laugh at that.
Well, he did play his little gesture. Was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were poorly used in the movie. I think they were actually used fairly well overall. Again,
hey, we're just talking about things that that we maybe I'm nitpicking. I don't
I
know.
mean, Terrific was a big part of the movie when it comes out to it. I mean, he was really
Terrific was
driving
great.
the plot for a lot of the middle there.
Doing a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
More so
I
than
would
any
agree
other
with a
movie.
lot of critics who pointed out that in their opinion, Mr. Terrific stole the movie from Superman.
I
Yeah.
tend to agree with that. There was, he was pushing the plot a lot more than, it's kind of, when you were talking about Mr. Terrific, I'm like, for example, RTBS, the first thing you said was, the scene that we're talking about positive scenes. First thing you said was the Mr. Terrific scene. I'm like, ooh, should that be the first scene that we think of when we're watching a Superman movie? The one that didn't have Superman in it? That's a little bit questionable. Outpost Nerd, I like the fact that Hawker killed the Bernie looking. I think that kind of fit in with her character. That was the one thing that helped fit into her, the character. I'm not sure if you should have done it, but it did fit with her, but still didn't like her. But anyway, go ahead, Cam.
There's a lot of stuff to cover here because again, there was just so much scattershot in this movie. Just to kind of finish up on the Justice Gang, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier. The imp fight in the background. A lot of people. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. Some people I've heard didn't like that. It's like, oh, why isn't Superman addressing that? I thought that was a great bit. I don't want to say subtle, but a small bit of world building. Again, this kind of thing happens. There's other superheroes in the world. I don't need to be doing absolutely everything. I have other stuff going on right now. And I think that's an important message to get across if you're going to be building the new DCU. I also thought it was kind of funny. I like that the Green Lantern bat, in the background, just whacking the thing,
beating it with the bat. Yeah,
it's silly, but I liked it.
When I watched the movie, I had a problem with that aspect too, that Superman wasn't helping. But I kind of agree with Cam. I mean, Superman can't do everything. He's got a personal life too. So, that's what the whole Justice League is about, where, Superman doesn't have to be there all the time.
Yeah, and he wasn't ignoring it. It was being taken care of,
And he was taking care of his own personal matters at the time while this is going on in the background, and he's not worried about it. So, I enjoyed that as well. But some other things that didn't work as well for me, as much as Ma and Pa Kent were supposedly central to the story, I thought especially Ma Kent was just a character. That was not a Kansas accent. I have family from Kansas. They don't talk that way.
Other people have mentioned that. Yeah.
I had a very negative reaction to them initially, but then Pa Kent gave Superman a little speech, and I'm like, okay,
yes,
this is more in line with what's going on. But I agree with you 100% about Ma. She just was, there.
She was just there. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the way I think that's a little Hollywood coming through. It's like Hollywood. It's like not us, and not us to them is hick. I mean,
look at Weatherman. They were too simple for Kansas farmers. Yeah, maybe that's the Hollywood view.
They do know how to talk on an iPhone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was Lex Luthor doing with Eve Taskmaster? I mean, I understand wanting to bring that character in and how she was, important to the plot, but what does the world's richest, smartest guy doing with Eve Taskmaster?
Well, they implied there was a line of them, right? The other girlfriends that ended up in the. I didn't like that particularly well, and that goes into the Jimmy Olsen thing, which I also didn't like.
Jimmy Olsen, sex symbol.
I didn't like it.
What do the kids these days call it? Riz? Where did all that come from?
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of extra minor characters that were sort of thrown in there, like Otis. I mean, that's from obviously Lex.
Did you catch his last name in the credits? Did you catch his last name?
No, I didn't.
Berg.
Otis Berg.
Yes, that was the character's name.
Otis Berg from the.
But that's
Superman 78.
So, like, why would you even have him in there? Like, why, and they, Otis this, and, even I complained about this before, Cat Grant is in there and she's she doesn't really do anything. Um, what's his
Well,
name?
at least she
Steve
got some lines. Rob didn't get a single line to ride on the.
Lombardi. I said this before, Lombardi, but Cam disagrees. But Steve Lombard. The he's
Sports
just there
guy,
to
yeah.
crap his pants when he's in the Mr. Terrific spaceship.
No, you're talking about your point that you had made on the other thing was that they packed too many characters in, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I think that wasn't necessarily. I mean, I didn't mind them being there, but I don't. You know, I would prefer they had something relevant to do.
Something to do. Yeah.
And they didn't really.
Yeah, Perry White barely had anything relevant to do.
Yeah, Cat was there for the cleavage. Yeah, Perry White. I said that too. Perry White said, twice he told Jimmy not to call him Chief, and then when they, in the final part of the movie, they're like, okay, we've got all this dirt on Lex, and Perry White's like, okay, print it, like send it out on the internet. Okay, well, we could have figured it out.
I mentioned this on Jason's show. It's like Jimmy didn't have a camera. He wasn't a photographer, and you know what? If you're talking Silver Age, I would have liked to see, and Ruffy, you can say whether you agree that they had any of this or not. Was Superman's pal, right? That's Jimmy, and that didn't come across to me very well here at all.
Nope.
So I think Jimmy was a huge low point in this movie. Actually, I think it was like a total miss. They portrayed him badly.
He was portrayed as another like a reporter because he didn't have his camera, but yet he's feeding all these great
giving the scoops.
Lois.
Yeah,
come on. They would,
right, as opposed to being again, as the photographer that works with the others, that makes much more sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Then he could have, if he was a photographer working with others, then he would give Lois the tip, right? And as long as he gets he gets a byline too, he gets to take the pictures and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, literally, it's like, did they did they just say no cameras for Jimmy? It's like it just stood out so strangely to me.
All right, there's a big one. Superman in Lex's office smashing it up about crypto.
Ruffy, you want to address this?
Am I the only one who had a problem with that?
Well, okay, Sam, you start then, since you had a problem with it. Go. Describe your problem.
I just think this is Superman goes in there, he smashes the door, he smashes his desk. That's not Superman. I mean, I get he's upset by Lex kidnapping his dog, but he shouldn't be getting that angry. I can't remember the scene, but I'm sure in Superman 1 or 2, there's a scene where Superman is talking to Lex and he's like angry, like he's getting angry, but he doesn't show it, and he crushes something in his hand or he does something like that. I can't remember the exact scene. And the other character, I believe is Lex, goes, "Oh, I forgot that this guy's standing there talking to me. I forget that he's like, super strong and he can."
Yeah, he said something like, "Whoa, big guy," or something like that, right?
Yeah. So I just think that, I thought that was very poorly done with Superman getting so angry about it. He should have been angry, but he should have been controlled. I mean, he doesn't have to, bash into the door. He could simply just walk in. No one's going to stop him. He doesn't have to smash the desk. He could have just come up to Lex, and they could have done a sort of a repeat of that scene where Lex, challenges him and he, crushes something or because he's kind of lost a little bit of control, but he's, he still has some control, but he's lost a little bit. And then it's like, oh, the audience gets the idea. He's really
okay. I have some thoughts. Ruffy, you want to give yours now?
So I don't disagree with the point, but again, I think it's part of Gunn's deliberate choices to try to make Superman more relatable, less Kryptonian, more human. And that would be a very human reaction, in my opinion, if you knew somebody had your beloved, not beloved, but whatever, somebody had your dog, and I didn't have as much of a problem with it. I mean, I see what you're saying, but again, I think it's part of, because you got that speech at the end too, where he's getting very emotional defending he's like, well, that right there is the problem. I'm just as human as you. And you can hear the emotion in his voice. He doesn't have his arms crossed and giving that that controlled moral authority toned speech that you're so used to hearing from Superman, you're hearing a human being speak back.
Yeah, a
And
particular kind of
so,
human
He's
being, I'd
still
say.
yep,
a
But
nope,
human being with huge power, and he has
no,
to control himself more so than the rest of us.
I'm not saying I loved it. I'm just saying I understood why Gunn was doing it that way.
yeah, well,
This nerd makes a good point about the social media stuff as well.
yeah, right.
Absolutely.
You're in the midst of this, and you're walking right into it. Now, okay, I will point out that without regard to my preference, the thing I mentioned earlier about the power suit thing, where he goes to confront Lex and everything, that was very in line with that scene. Not he wasn't as again, I'll use the word petulant for lack of a better one at the moment, where in this in the movie he was, but in again Byrne Man of Steel Superman, he confronts Lex in a way, you know, where he's in his face, um not so, you know, again in his office, you know, he goes into his building and he's like, hey, what's this crap you're doing, you know.
I don't have a problem with that. It's the destruction before, like that's what I'm commenting on.
Yeah, and
For
I
losing
understand,
his
and
temper. For losing
yeah,
his temper.
Losing his
right,
temper.
good point,
We should
and
be
I agree.
controlling it and maybe slightly losing it. We just see a little bit of it come out and go, oh, he's really mad because he's normally really controlled.
Right, and this is a lesson, like in Man of Steel, he learned this lesson, right? You know, the whole thing with the football, and it's like you can't just do this. You're not just a normal guy, even though you feel like it. You're, you know, mentally a human, and you know, you're not. You have bigger responsibilities, and that's, I don't think it was portrayed particularly well in this, at least not always. And Ruffy, you seem to be thinking that, yeah, okay, because they're trying to service this idea of, you know, they want to show Clark as a human, and I understand that. I just think that the choice of his exact attitude is not evenly portrayed and not what I would have gone with. I think there would have been a better choice, ideally. It wasn't horrible, but you know, it's not going to bother anybody else that's not digging into the details. You know, for your normies, they're not going to have a problem with that.
Good. There's a lot of good comments on this, and I think this one here is Gojir's comment. That's the most, you know, that's the thing that is the biggest for me. That's the point. I think for me, this was the. I think this was the worst scene. Like I thought it was, you know, the worst done scene. It should have been done differently.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I was talking about Lex. I thought it was a great scene for Lex, though. It was
for sure. Yeah.
It was a chance to, you know, it's where he shined through very well, because it was like, you know, he wasn't flustered by it, but he wasn't, you know, acting like a clown by any means either. He was playing it cool, and he had control of that situation, right?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and that's where it's like, yeah, you're falling right into my hands right now. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't care what you're smashing up. I could pay for that, you know. So he was portrayed very well in that scene. Which do you want to? I started to talk about Lex earlier when Ruffy was kicked out. Do you want to talk about that a little more? I know we're getting long here, but it's an important one in my opinion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Lex. I think his portrayal was uneven. I think it, as I've kind of said at the beginning, I thought it was good. At the end, I thought it was bad. What do you guys think?
What specifically about the end did you not like?
I thought he was. I thought at the beginning he was very much in control at the beginning, and a guy that had a plan that he was executing. He was smart. He was unflappable. He's not a clown, and I think by the end they made him into a bit of a clown. He was over the top with his murderousness and violence, and you know, not calculating. He became a thug, and at his heart, he is a thug, maybe, but it's not his demeanor. And at the end, he was like a raving lunatic. At the one, you know, scene that they had in the previews and stuff, him screaming like an idiot. I really just hated. It's like, no, he should have been cool and ruthless throughout the thing instead of this contrast that I think was the contrast is even worse than the fact that, I mean, if they portrayed him as like, you know, kind of a raving madman through the whole thing, that would have worked better. And other people have said, "Oh, well, his plan's falling apart and he can't take it." It's like, no, Lex is more sophisticated than that. I think it's like, yeah, this didn't work out. I'll get you next time, kind of thing. Go ahead.
I didn't see it as being that uneven. He's in control for most of the film, but then as things start to unravel, things that he didn't account for, things he didn't plan for, his two ace in the holes are negated. He doesn't have anything else to fight back with. He has been trying to portray himself as the savior of the world, position himself as saving the world from Superman, and that's a story that has been in the comics over the years. And suddenly, if he doesn't win this, he's the bad guy, and I can totally see. I mean, he's doing this because he's angry. He is angry at the very idea, and when he says no, they chose him, let them die. That didn't seem out of character for me. I'll stop it when it gets to a city I care about. That didn't seem that out of
Maybe
character for me.
yeah. Again, big level ruthlessness is what I would call that. Him locking up his girlfriend, I thought was just mustache twirling stupid. It's like, nah, he would buy her off or something else. Well, this gets into the whole pocket universe thing, which I think, I have very mixed feelings about that. Some ways I like, some ways I don't. But again, he's running, the Guardians of the Universe, not Guardians of the Galaxy, science
I know.
cells. It's like, that's a Green Lantern thing. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that was, I don't know. I didn't like it. It was too wild, and maybe like All Star Superman style wild, as you would put it. I
Yep.
didn't like it. I thought he. I don't know. I just think it could have been done a little more subtly and more effective.
I'm going to agree with your TBS here in general. I didn't think it was out of control for him, but it would have been. I mean, didn't have a problem with it, but I kind of agree that maybe it would have been better if Lex had kept his cool. I think you could go either way, and I'm not pissed off about it either or. Probably would have, having him keep his cool might be just a little bit better set up for future movies, and just make him that much more calculating and stuff. But I didn't have a big problem with it. But.
Then they had the crypto thing at the end with Lex, which I thought was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that was I didn't like that. Lex should be dead.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like, and then Clark's just kind of like, oh, crypto, yeah, this super powered dog that I'm in charge of is just mauling someone.
Yeah, threw the guy against the wall. I mean, his back's
man,
right? Like,
yeah, that's not good.
I agree with that. I think that was one of the overuses of crypto. They just simply should have marched Lex out into the back of the military vehicle, and that should have been that. He didn't need to have his ass kicked. But that was fan service. Yes. That was fan service. We can't have Superman whoop on him, so let's have the dog whoop up on him.
Yeah, but that's this. I think it's a mistake. It's
yeah, it was.
Agree. It was a mistake.
Yeah. It's those little, again, maybe a normie audience is like, ha ha ha, the crypto got him. And it's like, nah, this is stuff that gets to what Superman is and isn't, or should and shouldn't be, in my opinion.
Did Superman tell Crypto to go after?
No. Crypto did it on his own, but
on his own. Okay, I mean,
now I guess Crypto was, abused by Lex, so it's not that Crypto as established wouldn't want to do it.
It was abuse, but I mean, it was kind of like he was flying through the air chasing squirrels. I mean, that's probably his.
That's true. They didn't really.
That's not really much of a That's like, oh, we're gonna put you in a simulation, and you're gonna be surrounded by beautiful women, and okay, well, that's not so bad. But.
Hey, don't get too okay. Anyway, all right, let's move on. What's next? I got one that's very big for me. Is okay. So they have the whole thing with the pocket universe, right? Which at one point I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like when Ultraman or whatever, or he was disguised as the other thing when we first see
Hammer Bravia.
Yeah, he goes in, and it's like he goes there and jumps in there. I'm like, okay, cool. He's he's taking steps to not be detected, right? He's going through multiple jumps where you really can't track him. And I said, that's pretty cool. And then it's like, well, why would they do that? It's like, well, Superman has super senses and you got to take big steps to get out of his thing. And then they do absolutely nothing except for one little throwaway bit with the fact that Superman has super senses and is a huge part of his character. They dropped the ball on that as bad as Nolan dropped it on Batman being a detective. Ooh, deep cut. What do you think? They had a little bit of X-ray vision, and that's about it.
That's a good point. I thought that we were going to do more of that too. Oh, he's going through things. It's all just trick Superman and keep him up, but nope.
Well, yeah, it's like they did it. It's like they answered the question that they never asked. It's like they should have made a point that because it's again part of the character. Superman does have these super senses. Like, yeah, we got to do this to explain, to get around him because it makes Superman more of a threat, and that it also shows you the capability of Lex for there being a reason he thinks of these things. It's like you can't just hide somewhere in a building. Superman will see it. He'll find you that way. And it's so they didn't mesh up. They didn't. I don't know if it was in there otherwise and they cut it or something, but it didn't make sense. And pretending like Superman basically doesn't have super senses is really cutting the character.
So let me ask you this, though, just devil's advocate. What point in the film would they have needed to show that he had super hearing? What would that have? How would that have served the story? I'm just asking.
I don't know. They're choosing to tell whatever story they want to tell, but I mean, anything.
We saw the X-ray vision. We saw the heat vision.
Maybe he's searching around. Maybe he's trying to use his super hearing. It's like, I can't hear where Crypto is. I can't get away from hearing him. He's barking all the time. Right. You could do something as simple as that. Yeah. Show him
question asked, question answered. Absolutely. Yep. Flying over the city, listening for Crypto. There you go.
Okay. I'm not sure. And I'm not a screenwriter, but yeah, you could have easily come up with stuff, right?
Yeah. And you also wonder, though, is that something that got cut? Because, from what you've heard, there were quite a bit of things that were cut. And I don't know if they were good things, if they were bad things, but.
Yeah, they showed the X-ray vision. I think I think the only thing they showed was the X-ray vision when he was looking in the Kaiju's stomach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yep. That's the only thing I can remember.
And Death Angel Shadow says, yeah, he used super breath several times in the movie.
Yeah, so you've got super breath, you've got heat vision, you've got X-ray vision. Okay, super hearing. What's the fifth sense we're missing?
Well, he's got telescopic vision as well, and microscopic vision, and he's got a variety of vision powers. But he can hear radio signals. He can hear, he has super ventriloquism traditionally.
God, yes. I'm surprised Gunn didn't use super ventriloquism because we had the hypno glasses.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Super touch, but that's only for Lois.
Oh, boy.
Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex.
Sorry.
Let's not. Oh, dark. Okay. What's next? Yes. Death Angel Shadow. He can hear radio signals. Yes.
Yeah. I think we're getting long here. Cam wanted to end early, but we're not. I think we should bring in the audience. Anybody? I'm going to post the link. In the
lightning round.
If you want to click on the link, you want to come in. Lightning round. We'll have people in one at a time. Say your thoughts, question, problems with the movie, concerns, whatever it is, and then we'll just we'll bring on some. We'll send you off and bring someone else in. If
3 minutes, let's do 3 minutes.
Sure, real quick. While we're waiting, anything else? Problems you guys had? You want to talk about? Nothing. Keep the show going.
There's a lot more, I'm sure, when we, if we were to start digging into it. I don't know, the whole thing with the international incident. It's like, yeah, they mentioned at the beginning, and they kind of get back to at the end, and I'm not sure it wove through the plot as well as it could have. Again, because this was all over the place. We didn't even talk about the kaiju really. They threw him in there as another thing.
Distraction.
Yeah. All right. Hey, it's Outpost Nerd.
Outpost Nerd. I think he's got some opinions. Go ahead. Oh, I'm not hearing nothing.
Are you muted?
No, I got him. He's not muted. I got him on there. We're not hearing anything from you, Outpost. I'm not sure why. He's having audio issues. All right.
Death Angel Shadow. No, I don't think you do hear radio signals. I think you hear a radio signal transmitted through a speaker, right? But you're the radio guy, not me. So I'll take your word for it, I guess. But Superman can hear unaided. Naturally.
He can hear him. Sure
one thing that I thought I was going to be upset by as the movie started was, oh my God, are they seriously doing Lex as being motivated by land again? But then at the end they save it with, I didn't create this to take territory in Jernpur. I did this so I had an excuse to kill you. Because I even turned to my wife and I said, oh my God, not land again. And, because they did that obviously in Superman 1 and then Superman Returns, it was all about land again. And I thought this was going to go that way, but fortunately it did not.
Yeah, I didn't think that at the beginning. I just figured that Lex was messing with, with what's going on for some other nefarious purpose. I didn't even think of the land thing.
Well, when they showed the map as Luthoria or whatever he was going to call it, I was like, oh my God, Otisburg.
Oh, you were, yeah. I never felt that way for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but I'm just like, well. But anyway, all right. I'm going to.
Did you guys like sorry, go ahead. I was going to
say Outpost. We still not getting anything for you. I'm going to bring in Madman, who jumped in, and and hopefully Outpost. I'll leave you in until hopefully you get your audio sorted out. Okay, Madman, go.
Oh my God.
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh my God. What can I say about this?
You got to say something.
I mean, Gunn just dropped about a dozen comics on the board. And just throw darts at it. That's how I feel about it.
So you think that the plot was a bit of a scattershot mess?
If you read my comments on there, there's a segment of it it's Gods and Monsters has a segment that that Superman, Lex and other people were turning against Superman, similar to what was in this film.
Okay.
Am I doubling up on the sound?
No, you're not.
Are you hearing an echo on your side?
I'm hearing an echo on my side. That's why.
Okay, that's yeah.
No, I'm not hearing. So I'm not sure.
Wait a minute.
I'm not sure
I know
what
it is. I know what it is. Hang on. Okay, but okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Oh, Outpost Nerd. Okay, sorry. Let's shift to him and see if we can. Well, I don't know. What can we do about the echo?
Guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Outpost Nerd. Are you hearing an echo on yours?
Can you hear me?
No. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. Well, let's let Madman go first, and then we'll switch.
Okay. Like I said, with this, I felt that it Gunn threw a lot of comic books at the wall, and he said that basically, all these stories, All-Star Superman and all that. I think he just grabbed a little bit of this and a little bit of that, threw it into a mixing bowl, and just threw it all together and just spat it out.
Anybody comments on that? I think
this could have been done with half the cast. We didn't need all these people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, like I said, most of the Daily Planet cast was kind of just extras, with the exception of of course Lois and Jimmy, but the rest of them were pretty much just extras.
I don't disagree with that. We've talked about how many things that he's pulled from different things, and I don't know that he wove it into a consistently cohesive story. But if you've seen other gun movies, that's sometimes a problem for him. And at the end of the day, though, I still think the majority of folks that see the film enjoyed the film.
Yeah,
Can
I didn't think it was.
am I coming through, guys?
Okay, now you're coming through.
Am I coming? Okay.
Yeah, coming through now.
My thing is this. I'm afraid that Superman is going to fall into the same trap that the Snyderverse kind of fell into, introducing too many people, too many characters, way too fast, and that's what the Snyder cut. I think that was one of their biggest issues, and I feel like that's part of the problem with Superman. You keep saying it's for normies. Well, we're not getting enough. Like we were talking about earlier with Hawkgirl, she did not have enough character development, in my opinion.
Oh well, none essentially.
Yeah. So, and she's always been one of my favorite superheroes. I've watched her all the way from Justice League and all that. Another issue I had was basically this was not Superman versus Lex, in my opinion. As I've said in chat multiple times, as I have under my banner, this was Superman versus social media. And I think that's a commentary, like you said, what Gunn has gone through and the power that social media has gained over the past 5, 6, 7 years, where one word, whether true or not, can destroy somebody. The court of public opinion is more powerful than Superman, more powerful than Darkseid, more powerful than any force known to man, in my opinion. And that is what Superman fought against nearly the entire movie. That was what I had the biggest problem with him going into Lex's office like he did. He should have known better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
I agree with Outpost Nerd on that one. And again, what he just said is a segment of Gods and Monsters. It just literally that they turned the opinion against Superman and the Justice League because somebody was in the story itself, somebody was killing these scientists, which was actually a lot of the villains from the series, but they didn't become villains, but they were being killed one by one. But they were being killed by the powers of each of the Justice League members, and Superman was the top at that point. And everybody was turning against them. They sent the military, everything. Lex Luthor was warning them, "Oh, this being is a god itself," to that point.
Well, it's like Superman Red Sun. How much of Superman's power was based in propaganda?
Mm-hmm.
The Soviet Superman. One thing I loved the exterior shots of Metropolis. But why did every building the interior feel like a filled out mall? The Hall of Justice looked like a half empty train station, in my opinion.
Well, I think I like that. I think that was on purpose because the Justice Gang isn't set up yet. They've got scissor lifts and they haven't done everything, and they've only got 3 people. They're trying to recruit more, or whatever. Nobody else wants to have anything to do with them. I kind of thought that was done on purpose.
Yeah, I can see that, but you also saw it like the Daily Planet didn't feel like a busy metropolitan world-size newsroom. It felt like
they don't exist anymore.
Yeah. It felt so small. Yeah, in Superman, it didn't feel busy enough, I guess, for it to be a
sort
newsroom.
of like the Quest for Peace Daily Planet.
Yeah.
But that never happened.
One thing I will agree, Mr. Terrific was great. The thing I didn't like about that fight scene was, okay, why do we need this cheesy music? But of course, that's what Gunn does. That's one of his trademarks. He picks cheesy, obscure music. Look what he did. he did Peacemaker the series, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that opening is an epic opening to that show.
It's a great opening.
Yeah.
It's what attracted a lot of people to watch.
And the thing I love about it, they have John Cena as that Peacemaker. So I'm guessing he's trying to. Oh, don't get me started on Maxwell Lord. If Sean Gunn wasn't in his brother's movie, he would not have a movie career at all. And I like him, but I'm like, okay, that's nepotism 101. You're putting your brother in everything. But I loved the kaiju fight. That was one of my favorite scenes or sequences. Just classic.
I like that fight because I think that showed a little bit of like they're killing the kaiju and Superman's kind of like going, "Oh, don't kill it," and he's kind of looking around. He's like, "Oh, how can I stop this and solve the problem?" And he kind of fails, right? Like they get in there and they blow it up, and he's like, "Ah."
It's like, why can't we take it to this intergalactic zoo or study it or something?
Yeah, and that kind of shows a little bit of his naivete, but also, he cares about everything.
Yeah,
even
I mean,
squirrels.
like you said, the squirrel. Now, one thing I did not like, I wasn't too big of a fan of this version of Ma and Pa. I just wasn't. Like someone one of you said earlier, Ma just seemed kind of too much of an airhead, too stupid almost.
Yeah,
she was a caricature as opposed to a character.
Yeah, and Pa he was, instead of being this kind of tough, like pick yourself up by your bootstraps farmer, he was like, Clark, oh my God, Clark, this, oh my, dude, stop blubbering. Even Ma says like, he's just a blubberer. Like, okay, why?
Well, because my opinion, he'd never seen his son hurt before. When you see your kid laying there and it's the first time that he's had his ass kicked, that you've seen him, I mean, you don't know how to handle it. You don't know what you can do for him.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
I certainly preferred this Pa Kent to the let me die in a tornado, because you've got to keep your. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but still, not as good as the Donner.
Oh no, not as good as Smallville. Ma and Pa Kent.
I love John Schneider's Pa. John Schneider made a great Pa Kent, in my opinion, and I think they kept him on that for the perfect amount of length. I will never forget that final scene when he's like, always remember Smallville. You're Kryptonian, yes, but remember what you learned in Smallville, and passes Clark the suit. And I'm like, oh, that moment gets me, like, sends me chills every time.
Well, what about Glenn Ford?
I liked. Which one was that?
The original
Superman one.
Which one was that?
Christopher Reeve.
Oh yes. He wasn't in the movie long enough. Yeah.
Well, generally,
Pa
Kent does die early on.
I know. I prefer versions though where he lives. I grew up watching Lois and Clark, Justice League, and they had their Pa Kent still alive and going strong, and I liked Superman having that man in his life, that father figure still.
And that was also a difference between pre-crisis and post-crisis Superman. Is most representations in post-crisis, Ma and Pa Kent both are still alive and a part of his life.
See, that reminds me of, like, I like the version of Splinter when he's a man that becomes a rat, not the rat that becomes a man. He's still, because to me that he's more knowledgeable in ninjutsu when he becomes the man, when he's the man that becomes the rat. That I like having that father figure for my characters, and a lot of times we don't see that, especially not anymore.
Now, did anybody get this with the? I'm sorry. Did anybody get the Superman clones robots sounded almost like G.I. Robot from Creature Commandos?
Because it's the same actor.
It was the same actor. Oh, I didn't even notice. I haven't read all the credits. It is Adam Tudyk. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
K2SO.
Yeah, K2SO.
All he had to say is, "Are there Nazis here?"
Wash from Firefly. Yeah, it's the same actor. Dr. Phosphorus too.
Yeah.
Great actor.
I love Dr. Phosphorus on that series.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tudyk. myself.
I called them Tudyk bot, because this to me it's just like I watched him on Firefly, so that's where I'll always remember him. I loved him, like in Nathan Fillion. I will watch Nathan Fillion read the phone book. I love him. He's one of my favorite. Loved Castle, loved Firefly, loved him as Hal Jordan, and for him to get to play Guy Gardner, I'm hoping and praying to God we see a Superman knockout with him. I would love to see, or a Batman knockout.
If you like Alan Tudyk, check out Resident Alien.
Yes, that's amazing.
Great show.
Amazing show. But I liked all the like going back to the kaiju fight. Did you notice all the Easter eggs in it? Like I saw a billboard for Big Belly Burger, the sandwich chain that Lex Luthor owns.
Yeah, you had Big Belly Burger. You had Jitters the coffee shop. You had I know one that I noticed for sure was one of the streets was named after Dan Jurgens. Yeah, there were a lot of nice Easter eggs that I tried to catch more on the second viewing because the first you're like, oh, did I really see what I thought I saw? And then you go back and you still miss it.
Well, remember in the Flash series, there is a Big Belly Burger in every universe.
Yep.
Yes. It's like Starbucks around here. Or Dollar Generals down here in Florida. I literally have 5 Dollar Generals within 6 miles of me. It's ridiculous. But one thing, I agree. I did not like Supergirl. I didn't. I liked the actress. I thought she was great in House of Dragons.
Queen of Dragons.
Yeah. I don't like this version. I think because people are so used to the blonde preppy cheerleader version. But for a while we got the whiny liberal I don't need no man Supergirl from the TV show. I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree. I did not like when she called Superman a bitch. I did not like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it made me cringe. I'm like, ugh. And I understand she's supposed to be like, and I do like the idea of her trying to get over losing her world, because there was there's an animated one where she gets sent to the future to work with the Legion because she can't get over that fact. She's like, she like I said in the chat, she has a superiority complex when it comes to humans.
League Unlimited.
No, this was a standalone recent animated one where she goes in and falls in love with Brainiac. I know Justice League Unlimited had the same storyline, but she goes to like
yes, you are right. Yeah, they did make a standalone on it later on. Yeah,
it had Mon-El, who became the bad guy in it, and all sorts of. But I liked his super suit. I liked it when I got watching. I was so excited to talk about this. Sorry, but I liked it fit. The suit looked good. I think it had that alien look, but almost like a homemade alien look. If that makes any sense.
Now, Outpost, which do you think was better? Which was better, this suit or the Lois and Superman action comic suit that was worn on the series?
You mean Lois and Clark?
No.
Oh, Superman and Lois.
I remember.
Lois.
I'm sorry, Superman and Lois.
I kind of like this one better. Superman and Lois was too soap opera-y for me, and I know that's
we're talking about suit. We're talking about suit wise. We're not talking about the series. Suit wise.
Hold on. Let me. Oh my.
I thought the Lois and Clark, the Superman and Lois suit was a little closer to to the Snyder suit than to the Reeves
Snyder?
suit.
Yeah, I see it too.
So I like the colors of this suit, and I'm okay, I guess, with trying to give an homage to the Kingdom Come stylized S, but I would like to have seen something different as far as the suit. It wasn't a deal breaker for me. I'm not calling him Diaper Man or anything like that, but it was okay. It's not my favorite suit. I guess it's
Well,
growing on me a little bit, but
to me, this suit threw back to the original inspiration of the circus strongman in his tights and bikini suit shorts. So I liked it. It was a good balance between kind of goofy and less armor like than like Snyder and Superman and Lois, because those suits almost look like armor, almost like Kryptonian armor. I think that's what it was.
well, yeah, the
Didn't
Snyder
Jor-El?
the Snyder suit was yeah, that was from Krypton. This suit from this film, I did his mom make it? I mean, where did he get it? I mean, and
Yeah,
that's a
or
nitpick,
maybe
but
he had a suit. See, and this is the thing too, that Gunn again is starting in the middle of the story
yeah,
in some regard. I would have loved to see like the fight between the Hammer and Superman, or maybe some flashbacks of with him. This is what I think Superman and Lois did well. That they in the first episode they had flashbacks of him starting out. Like he catches the green car in the style of Superman #1, and he's got the black S. And kid looks at him and is like, "Oh, that's a cool suit." He's like, "Thanks, my mom made it," and he
yeah.
flies off. I would have loved to see kind of something, not just a scroll across the screen. But I understand this was this. From what I understand, this was kind of on the cheaper side, movie wise, budgetness. I don't know how much the budget was for Superman, but I enjoyed
Well,
it.
if you believe some people, it was $500 million. So
Oh, good God! People are so
Oh,
just
all right.
they're spoiled after the Avengers.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, we're going to try to sum up the show. Outpost Nerd, real quick. Rating the movie, number wise, good.
7 out of 10. I think like Lex was over the top. Some of the things he did, like I kind of agree. I think it was Cam that said he was kind of unbalanced. The crypto attack made me like almost like face palm. I'm like, dude, come on, you would be dead if some crypto someone just nipped you, you'd be dead. So I give it like maybe a 7, 8 out of 10, maybe. Could have been better.
All right.
Fewer characters,
Okay.
more character development.
All right. All right. Thanks. Thanks for coming in. I'm going to send you out.
All right, appreciate
All
it.
right. Thanks. Madman, same thing. Your
I'm gonna
thoughts?
be a bit nice, 6 out of 10. But like I said, they could have done this movie with half the cast, not all these superheroes in the background. I mean, Mr. Terrific would have been the perfect choice, obviously, to that point. He was great in that. I did like that character onto there. Most of the storyline, like I said, it was like comic books on a dartboard. He just picked and choose, multiple stories and just mixed it in together. And I just really, it still doesn't get me. I mean, I would, and I didn't like Man of Steel that much. And I say Man of Steel was a better movie than this.
Really? You like Man of Steel better than this?
Better, and I don't like Man of Steel.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. All right. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. All right.
Not a
See
problem.
you later. Thanks. All right, gentlemen, should we do our final thoughts of the movie or ratings or whatever, and then we'll end it off? I can't agree with Madman there. I think this was better than Man of Steel, but anyway. Got,
from a rating standpoint, I mean, if you look at film construction, Man of Steel was probably, now, did it work? But was it a tighter script? Was it a tighter story? From a just pure filmmaking point of view, yeah, maybe a better film. Was it a better Superman film? No, it was not. My head says give this a 6.5. out of 10. But my heart, and both times that I've come out of this, I've seen it twice. I'm going to see it probably 2 more times in the theater, and that's saying something for me because I hate people and I don't like going out into the theater. 9 out of 10 as far as how it makes me feel.
Wow. All right. Cam, do you want to? Cam, you still there? We're not hearing anything from you. RTBS, are you still hearing me?
Yes, I still hear you.
Okay.
Do you still hear me?
Well,
I think
Yeah, I
he,
do.
I think
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, it's shifted me out of the audio.
Oh,
Okay.
it slipped you out.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. All right, go ahead, Cam. What do you?
Um, I think I think 6.5 is kind of where I'm falling. If I was to say, kind of follow what RTBS did in terms of his feelings, which yay, I, I would say that I would go up to maybe a 7.5 at that point. But I think that people are making them. Well, it's not a mistake. If you enjoy something, you enjoy it. I don't ever want to, you know be that guy that's like, you shouldn't like this because XYZ. No, if
That's my job.
yeah, sure, okay, but I think it's a mistake to be comparing. It's not a mistake to talk about the other movies and everything, but if you're sitting there and I think this is what a lot of people are doing and saying, well, it's better than Man of Steel. Yeah, it is. But comparing to such a low bar is just not. It's damning with faint praise kind of thing, in my opinion. And I I think a lot of people are enjoying the enjoyment of this, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you really start to think about it, and you know much about Superman, there's problems. But that's okay. Not every movie needs to be perfect. It was a fun movie. That's the bottom line, I guess.
Yeah, my thought was coming in around like 6.5 as well. I think that people are liking it, and I think it's good. And the problem is, I have some problems with certain aspects of it, but a lot of those are, it's just something that I wouldn't necessarily do, and I think it would work better if it had done, a different way. But it doesn't necessarily, make the movie bad. But it could have been better if he had spent a little bit more time, you know, a little less, hey, I want to make a Superman movie that I like, and more of a Superman movie that would be more true to the character. And those are the things we mentioned in the negatives, and some of those things. So yeah, I think it could be better. I think that people are giving this a little bit better of a rating, and I might be guilty of this myself, because there simply has been such a crap ton of poor superhero movies in the last couple years that they're just latching on to anything that's any good. Like what's the latest? What's the last good superhero movie from Marvel or DC that has come out? There's been a slew of them in the last 5 years, and most of them have been, poor, less than way below average. It's hard to, so we've been inundated with crap, and people are like, oh, it's not crap, so they're happy. But yeah, but still,
Starving Man in the Desert.
That's right. It's still, it's still a good movie, better than average, above the 50% line for me. So yeah. All right. Any last words, gentlemen? Before we about the movie before we head out?
No, I'll just say thanks to RTBS for coming not 1 but 2 weeks as a guest in our Superman, let's say, expert.
Yeah,
Well,
right on.
Thanks for the invitation, I guess. It's always great to have an opportunity to disagree with you at any time, Cam, because that's what I live for. So, thanks again.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks for coming. Just everybody, don't forget to check out our Discord. It'll be up there in the outro credits if they work. Yeah, we got some interesting conversations going on with some of the guys on there, talking about various movies and things. We're getting some, people giving us their opinions and having some interesting conversations. So we got a great audience on the show. People who are pretty knowledgeable and pretty open and wanting to give out their opinions and stuff. So yeah, we appreciate that. So yeah, check out the Discord. All right, Cam, what else did I miss? Anything else? We got next. We got Babylon 5 coming up.
Yep.
What are we doing on Babylon 5?
It's a show.
Yeah. What we just did the Long Dark, right?
Yep.
So the next one is that the Spider Web? Is the next one? I suppose I should kind of know this.
Yeah, we should know that. But in any case, it's at 11 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday.
And we're doing the next. I think it's the Spider Web one. Yeah. So it's about it's a Talia episode about the Psychor, and there's some stuff going on there. We give
Murder.
Murder most foul. Oh,
yep.
Horrible.
We're charging through season 2, so be sure to tune in, please.
Yeah,
like and subscribe.
It's a good show. We're enjoying it. Yeah. All right. So I think that's it. Oh wait, I did forget something. I forgot the jokes. Since I guess RTBS had to suffer last week, so unless you want to suffer again, RTBS, I'll give these to Cam. It's up to you.
I'll take one for the team. One last time.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what? I have 3 jokes. I'll give the first 2 to Cam because I'll give the crappy ones to him. I'll give you the best one. Cam.
Yeah.
Why did Superman bring a spoon to the fight?
I don't know. Why did Superman bring a spoon to the fight?
In case he wanted to dish out, he needed to dish out justice. Dish it out, get it, use a spoon to dish it out.
That's not Superman specific. That's really stupid.
Cam didn't like that one.
Don't hold back, Cam.
What is Superman's favorite drink?
I don't know. What is Superman's favorite drink?
Justice League Lemonade. Get it? League Lemonade. It's like lemonade, but
D minus. Okay.
All right.
F+.
RTBS. What is Superman's favorite part of a joke? It's kind of a meta.
What is Superman's favorite part of a joke? No clue.
The punchline. Even Cam got that one.
All right, I'm done.
You like that one though, right?
I did. I'm going to use that one.
Yeah, that's great. Leave on the low note. That's perfect, Snob. Yeah.
That was the good one. What are you talking about?
I'm talking in the jokes in general. All right. Hey, we had some great interaction from the chat, and really nice to have Outpost Nerd and Madman come in for some comments. But again, a lot of other people, a lot of good interaction. So we really appreciate that.
We go for that. We only get the best jokes for everybody. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching the show. Let's hope that this outro here works. But if not, we'll see you Wednesday or next Sunday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.